Hello everyone, welcome back to Eat Sleep Breathe. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to do your very own DIY auto top off for under $15. Typically these auto top offs go anywhere from $100 to $200, and I would easily say this is probably one of the main reasons new reefers don't have a lot of success is because their salinity is always fluctuating. Anytime water evaporates, only the water evaporates, the salt doesn't, thus you need to replenish the water to keep the salinity right. So this is pretty much everything you see here. We're going to quickly run down on what's needed and get on with this video. So one of the first things you are going to need is you are going to need a hose, obviously, to transfer the water. You're going to need a 12-volt relay, you can see here. Then you're going to need a water pump. Obviously the pump is what's going to take the water up. You're going to need a 12-volt power supply. This relay does work on 12 volts, so you're going to need that. You're also going to need a float switch. These float switch also operate on 12 volts, which is why it's not recommended to run them directly with an AC pump. And lastly, you're going to need a power extension. The power extension is what's going to allow us to not cut into our pump, just in case you want to use it down the road. So one very important thing I do want to cover before we get started is a relay. A lot of people, when you're going to read, are going to recommend you that you don't need to run a relay, and that's 100% not true. Well, certain cases. These float switches here, excuse me, are low voltage sensors. So even though you could connect it to an AC current, it probably would only work for about a week. I'd be surprised if it worked that long, but eventually it is going to fail. There's no way around it. So with that being said, that's why we need to use a relay to allow the big current to run through the relay and your 12-volt power supply to run here through the float switch. So just want to make that out there, want to put it out. Having the relay pretty much fail-safes everything. It takes all the current, it controls reverse polarity, overcurrent, undercurrent, anything of that sort. It's going to take care of for you, so the float switch doesn't. So one of the next steps to understanding before we get on is a power cord. If you've ever looked at a power cord, it has kind of two sides to it. One's ribbed, one's not ribbed. You can see pretty much the way I look at them is ribbed and smooth. So you're going to have the ribbed side, you can see here. As soon as you turn it over, you got the smooth side. So the live wire is going to be on the smooth side. So that's the side we want to cut into. When we do cut into it, and it's going to be very simple, using a little hobby knife and then some wire cutters to expose the wires, and you'll be good to go. So very quick, guys, I don't want to teach, although I am going to teach you, but I don't want to show you guys how to wire this specific relay. The reason why is because let's say in the future you're not able to find this specific one. I want you to understand how they work so you're able to do any relay you want. So the best way to understand a relay is to remove it. Obviously, if you can read the electrical diagram, that's going to be the easiest. If you're like me, I do not understand that, but I do understand visual very well. So in the back, you're going to have the pins as well as the numerical value or the numerical corresponding number for each of the pins. So the way every pin works out there, no matter, I don't care which, or the way every relay works, they got a coil. In this case, it's a 12-volt coil. So this 12-volt coil receives power. If you follow the coil inside, you'll see that these two back pins are what supply it power. You can see there. So this is where we're going to be supplying our 12-volt power source, and then you can follow the corresponding number. Once the actuator is actuated, it'll move this lever. You can see here, these two levers, it'll move it to either make contact on this pin or on this pin, and you can see that here. Right now it's in the forward position because it's off and the spring is pulling it back. So once the actuator kicks in and pushes it, it's going to allow it to make contact to this pin here, which is the second one. This one here is a common. So this middle one, it's always connected. You can see here on both sides. So the white's always common, and the connection is made on here. You want to be sure when you are wiring something in a relay, you don't wire it to where it makes contact in the off position, which would be this pin here. You may be asking why. I mean, sometimes you may want to do that, but in this case we don't, because we would hate for this to fail in the on position. So you want to make sure you make contact on this pin here, which if you look closely, this lever is not making contact with it. So when the actuator supplies voltage via the sensor on the float switch, it's going to tell it to touch this pin here and this pin. The best way to understand the relay, both these sides run off the same exact output, so you're going to get the same result whether you wire it on the left or the right. So the next thing we're going to want to do is wire in the power. Remember, the way we verified the pins and look at the value, it actually corresponds to the 2 pins in this relay here on the top. You want to be careful because not every relay runs them like this. That's why if you understand how it works, it's going to be easier for you to wire it. And understand again, the right side and the left side is identical, so no matter where you do it, you're going to be perfectly fine. So now that you got it wired in, it's going to look like this. Like I said, you can do it on the top right or top left. It doesn't matter as long as they're parallel to each other. Make sure you snug them down. A little cool trick to make this lead not have a crease in it is measure your wire. You can see here, mark it with your hand, get some wire cutters, cut it, and that's going to allow it to not have a bow in it anymore, and it's going to look a little bit cleaner. So the next thing you're going to want to do is locate your power supply. You're going to want to expose the leads like I did here, cut off the connector. Expose them, leave a good section of it there, and pretty much we're going to be wiring this in. And remember, the way we looked at our relay, we want to wire it into the coil. An important thing is also going to be to grab your float switch, locate the 2 wires, and you're going to want to, the way you wire this, you're going to choose any one wire from the float switch. It doesn't matter which one, doesn't matter what color it is, doesn't matter which one, and you're going to wire it into one of the wires into the 12-volt power supply. Doesn't matter if it's a red one or the black one, it does not matter. So whatever you feel like doing that day, that's going to work perfectly. Once you are done with that, we're going to wire it into the relay where it was showing us that the ports correspond the numerical value for that. In my case, it's the 2 bottom ones. It does matter what side you do it on. As you remember, this relay does have a right way and wrong way of going. You're going to notice when you take it off, the spacing is going to be different on the pins. So that should be pretty familiar. Like I said, if you get my specific relay, it's going to be the ones by the little yellow tab on the bottom, and you're going to be good to go. All right, so I only connected the 12 volt, guys. I did not connect this here yet. This is not connected because the coil only needs 12 volts to operate, so you don't need to connect this right now. So immediately you're going to see the little pin in there. You're going to start seeing that move, as well as you're going to start seeing these 2 either make contact or break contact based off what the float switch does. You'll also hear a little popping sound. Listen to it. See that? So you can see what's going to happen. This is this will be the off position, right? So you can see it's not making contact with the inner one. This is where we connected this guy here. So this one is that one there, and this one here is this one, the white lead. So when the water level comes down, this arm is going to swing back, thus completing this circuit, so power is allowed to run through there. So here it goes, watch it. See that? So right there, it's going to tell it, hey, you completed the circuit, give me power, and there it goes. And then I'm going to break the circuit. Once it fills up with water, done. Pretty cool, right? Pretty neat. I guess for the hell of it, I can connect the pump. I obviously don't want to run the pump too long because you don't want to run your pumps outside of water for very long, for obvious reasons as well. Obviously, they're meant to run in water, so they're going to overheat and burn up and everything. But I mean, a few seconds isn't going to hurt it. So let's plug it in, and here we go. Oh, I was like, why isn't it working? Let's plug that in. Okay, you guys ready? There it is. It's very quiet. I don't know if you can hear it. There you go. Everyone, so that's going to conclude this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Obviously here I didn't do my best making it look tidy, just because I don't want to make it look too difficult for you guys to do. If you guys want to make it neater, obviously you can put this like in a project box or anything of that sort. If you want to solder it, add heat shrink, add silicone to waterproof it. I mean, you can really go above and beyond depending on what you want to do. But in this video, this will be more than sufficient to get it working. Obviously, just like any other electrical piece, don't expose it to water because of course it's going to fail. But yeah, guys, it's very straightforward. Just remember your 2 pins. You want your power running through the contact where when the When the coil is activated and it makes contact, that's where you want the power to be going, not to be in the opposite position, because you don't want this to fail safe on, because that would not be a good day. But like I said, you should still be able to get this relay for quite a while. I'm going to have all the links to everything down the description. For you guys out there watching this video and you're still saying there's no way in heck I'm ever going to be able to build this, I got good news for you. I'm going to be selling these combos in two versions. One version is going to be with everything you need for you to assemble it. The other version is going to be me pretty much doing all the work. So depending on what you want, I'm going to have my email down below. If you'd like me to make you one just because you're too afraid of doing your very own, I'll make them. Going to be very inexpensive because I'd like for every single person to no longer have an excuse to not have an auto top off. So we're going to end this video here, guys. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down in the comment box below. Everything's going to be in the description. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. And thank you guys very much for watching. Until next time.